We deserve each other, me and Bach. Before I get into this video, this was my first time seeing Wicked. I've never seen the musical. I honestly didn't even know about Wicked until this premiere. So, patience. I have my laptop out because I took notes because we gotta get into a lot. I am obsessed. I put on my threads that I was cleaning and all of a sudden I just wanted to hear the soundtrack. And I was like, is this how it starts? First and foremost, does anyone actually have powers in Oz except for Alphaba? Because I didn't see anyone do magic throughout this whole entire film. No one did a lick of magic except for Alphaba. I am convinced that no one actually has powers. Galinda did that in the beginning with the little bubble, but for all we know, she's a one-trick pony. I really didn't see her do anything. I didn't see Madame Morrible do a trick. I didn't see any of them. They couldn't even read the book. So I'm convinced Alphaba is the only one that has powers. That's why she's the chosen one. Which brings me to my next point. Everybody hates on Alphaba because she has what everyone else wants. Now, of course, the powers. But what I am referring to is she does not give a fuck. She doesn't give a fuck about what anyone thinks. And that's because her whole entire life, she's heard the same things. That's why when you meet her, she introduces herself and gives you this whole spiel because she's used to it. She has learned and adapted to not give a fuck as a survival instinct. That's why Fiyero is so attracted to her. And he can't figure out why. Because of course he wants to be with someone like Galinda because Galinda is gorgeous. She is that it girl. But Alphaba is mysterious. Alphaba has this little quirk to her, aside from the green skin. You know, Alphaba exudes confidence, and you can tell it's not fake. You can tell that it's real. You can tell that she is who she says she is. And everyone believes her, whether they like her or not. Everybody, including Glinda, everybody wishes that they had that. And because she doesn't care about what other people think of her, it enrages them because they don't understand it. They already don't understand her, and they think, how could you not care about what I think of you? I'm also convinced that the only reason that Alphaba has powers is because of her skin. If her skin was not that color, I don't think she would have powers. And my theory is that if she were to actually change her skin to a normal skin tone and take away the green, then she would no longer have powers. She would no longer be the chosen one. And I'm wondering in part 2, is she going to realize this? Is she going to realize that she is really the only one who can make her wish come true? I'm about to cry. She dreamed her whole life of meeting the wizard and him being able to change her so she could fit in, so she could camouflage. I think that's why she got so offended when Glinda was like, oh, well, when I get my powers and I learn, I'll change your skin for you. And she's just like, bitch, you couldn't even do it if you tried. It really triggered her because it is something that she deeply wants because she doesn't want to feel so different. She doesn't want to feel like a mistake. She doesn't want to feel like an outcast. All she's ever wanted to do was fit in. I wonder if in part 2, if she realizes that she's the only person who can actually change her own skin, will she still do it? I thought it was kind of cute and it made sense that her skin was green. The wizard loves green. She's green. Even though she came from infidelity, just thought it was kind of cute. Cynthia Erivo's voice, needless to say, is just golden. It is so gorgeous. It is so smooth and buttery and rich. She was perfect for this role. The character means so much to me, and I'm so happy that she was able to play it because I don't think if someone else were to play it, I don't think it would have impacted me the same. So beautiful. I love Elfie. I love Alphaba. Okay, let's move on to Glinda. Glinda. Ariana Grande was the perfect choice for Glinda because if it was anybody else, I would have hated Glinda. I would have hated Glinda with my whole chest. I would not. Ooh. But Ariana Grande made me want to hear her out. It made me want to like her. It made me want to think, choosing Ariana Grande was so perfect for this role for a multitude of reasons. I have to admit, it was distracting that Ariana Grande was playing Galinda. But I think that was the whole point because Glinda is supposed to steal the show. She's supposed to have that celebrity aura in Oz and Shiz. She is that girl. She is her. She's supposed to bring you in. She's supposed to distract you. Her aura is supposed to shine brightly. Honestly, I don't think anyone else could have emulated that energy better than Ariana Grande. You have to give her flowers. Toss. Glinda. She pissed me off. She pissed me off so much during this movie, to say the least. Can we talk about history instead of the past? Bitch, that is history. Ugh. Mean girl. So self-absorbed and genuinely think that they're doing things out of the kindness of their own heart, but are really menaces to society. Galinda loathed alphaba because alphaba had exactly what she wanted, which was power. Even though Galinda had everything a girl could imagine that she wants, you know, she's the most popular girl in town. She has Fiyero, a fine, beautiful man, the most beautiful man in all of shiz. And yet, it still wasn't enough. And the truth is that someone like Galinda would never be able to do what alphaba did. And that's why the power was never bestowed onto Galinda. It was always going to be alphaba's position, because someone like Galinda would have folded, for lack of better words. She would have gave into the system because they're providing her with something that Galinda wants. And that's all Galinda needs in order to do whatever it is that needs to be done. Galinda has no backbone. She needs to be loved. She needs to be liked. That is her source of power. But alphaba's source of power comes from within. Her skin, I argue. But alphaba's validation comes from within because that's all she's ever known. That's all she's ever had to rely on. Even her own family was not fucking with her because she was green. They looked at her like a mistake. And that's why Madame Morrible is so rude to Galinda, because she can tell that she's a fraud. Madame Morrible, she tricked me. She tricked me. And I don't know how I didn't see it, because when I look back and listen to the music and I hear the sinister sounds after Madame Morrible sings, I think, damn, it was there in my face the whole entire time. But she was showing so much love to alphaba that I thought, oh, I was just happy for alphaba. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, yes, like, you'll be making good. Madame Morrible knew that Galinda wasn't who she claimed to be. Yes, Galinda was a social icon, but in the realms of magic and power, she was useless. The only reason she became useful is because of alphaba. Even when Galinda was in those classes, she couldn't do shit. The truth is, Galinda would have folded under pressure. She would mask the discomfort, and she would have just subdued to the pressure. She would have said okay to the wizard and then continue on and hurt us. The real reason I think that Galinda did not go with alphaba is because when they were in Emerald City, Galinda was kind of the side character. It was all about alphaba. And Galinda can't handle that. She is supposed to be the main character in her world. The world revolves around her. She can't handle being the side character. She can't handle being the supporting cast, no matter who it is. And popular when she says, I'll make you popular, but not more popular than me. Galinda was fully capable of joining alphaba and being successful. Galinda would have turned around the perspective of other people, just like she did at the dance. When Galinda chose to do that dance with alphaba, everyone saw alphaba in a different light. And just like when alphaba was rebelling against the system, if Galinda would have stuck around with alphaba, it would have been such a huge impact on the movement that alphaba was trying to stand for. Socially, Galinda probably would have had way more accolades than she does now. As we saw her in the beginning of the film, she would always be loved, you know. But I think if she would have stuck up for the animals with alphaba and escaped with alphaba, I think the way she could have been propelled into limelight and success and the accolades and the community adoring her would have been 10 times more. But she could not do it because she couldn't stand to be the sidekick. At the end of the day, alphaba is the one with the powers. Alphaba is the one who did everything. Galinda could take some credit, but she knows who the true star is in that situation. Galinda wouldn't even have powers if it wasn't for alphaba. If alphaba never told Madame Morrible to do her a favor, Galinda would never even be able to hold a wand. And I'm kind of convinced the wand can only make a bubble. That's all I see differently. And then when they were singing on that broomstick and Galinda decided to bring out that dusty ass cloak. Oh my gosh. I wanted to scream. I wanted to scream because you saw all of those beautiful garments on the rack. I saw so many beautiful things that she could have gave to alphaba, but she gave her that dusty ass cloak. To me, that was a representation of how Galinda actually felt about alphaba. That dusty ass cloak. She thought she wasn't shit. Alphaba was really popping her stuff, was really doing her thing. Galinda was surprised. She's like, this is supposed to happen to me, not her. Alphaba accepted the cloak because alphaba has always been taught to accept less. She has always been taught to just take what you're given, because it's not like this is gonna come around any day. And maybe that's a little deep for the cloak, but that's how I felt. The dust was flying off. It was pissing me off. It pissed me off to my core. It was not an act of kindness. That shit was shady. That shit was dirty. The cloak was dirty. She did my girl dirty. Of course they're gonna find her because all they gotta do is follow the dust trail. And then I saw a lot of people say that they were upset when alphaba chose to bring Galinda along with her to the Emerald City. But I completely understand alphaba's choice because she's always had to be alone. And this is the one time she can have her little outing with her bestie. You know, she can be out on the town and going through this magical experience, and she doesn't have to be alone. Alphaba having to leave Galinda behind in order to continue her journey. Whew. Not everyone can come with you. Not everyone is supposed to be at your final destination. When alphaba was singing Defying Gravity, it was such a special moment. That is the first moment she realized that she really does not need anybody. She doesn't need anybody to help her. It was the catalyst to the change and the self-love growing inside of her. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. Alphaba leaving is a perfect example to me why you cannot change the system from within. And she knew that. Because if she was able to do that, they would have already done it. She had to leave. If she would have stayed and if she would have tried to work the system from within, nothing would have changed. They would have just lied to her. They would have just told her what she wanted to hear and make her do what they wanted to do and then just leave alphaba hanging dry. Let the animals die. Going back to my theory about the rest of the people in Oz not having powers, I genuinely think that them suppressing the animals is suppressing everyone's ability to have powers. And that is the biggest irony out of all of it. Because you're taking away the magic by saying that these animals can't roam free and do what they do and talk. You are literally taking away magic from Oz. Of course, they're going to do it because they want control. They want a means for control and to keep status quo. Glinda cannot escape alphaba. In the beginning scene, they're at the burning, essentially a funeral, and they ask her questions. Didn't you know, old girl? She will always live with that, not only in her memory, but people will always associate her with that. Also, because of the contrast between good and evil, they always associate alphaba with being evil. So they want to hear from the good witch. They want to hear the difference. They want to know. And she will just never be able to escape it. And it's kind of like a secret that she'll always have to carry around with her for the rest of time. And it's going to eat at her. But like I said, that's why she wasn't chosen, because she will just be complacent. She's not going to do anything, even though it's eating her up on the inside. She's just going to let it linger. She's going to let it fester until the day that she passes. I was confused in the beginning because to me, it seemed like Glinda was happy. She was happy that that was alphaba's fate, because it's kind of like that aha moment. After watching Ariana Grande talk about it and seeing different videos, it seemed like Galinda was remorseful. So maybe I have to watch it back and analyze, but I really didn't get those vibes from her. I thought that she seemed satisfied with herself in a way, and maybe that was her trying to save face. But maybe at the same time, I think she was satisfied because she got what she wanted in the end. Towards the end of the movie, I got pissed off. I was realizing alphaba is singing Defying Gravity. She's taking it off to the western sky, and you're telling me you saw her fate? She's gonna get crushed by a house? I just blew the fuck out of me. Like, why? Hopefully we find out that that's not her. I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up, but like, what do you mean? Out of all the ways to go, too. Out of all of the ways. I cannot wait for part 2 next year. I am so excited. Oh my gosh. It will literally be the only movie I will go to the movie theater all day just to watch part 1 and part 2 in the same day. And I hope that they would do like a part 3 or just like an extra version and kind of integrate the Wizard of Oz, but like make it shiz, make it wicked, like do a hybrid of the two, because that would be so good. That would be so freaking good. I hope they do that. We'll see.